Hello, I am SUPREET Manveer.
Hello, everybody. My name is Manveer Sandhu.
It's kind of funny to introduce ourselves knowing we don't know if anybody's gonna actually be listening to this.
That's true.
But
Well, let's
here we
hope.
go.
Let's hope someone listens.
Yeah, yeah. I guess we got enough people on the internet. Somebody will probably browse around and stumble upon our podcast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have done it multiple times, so I guess someone will do it for us too.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Let's hope. Let's hope it goes that way.
All right. Okay. Well, I guess we'll. I was thinking, we were talking earlier that all the crypto market, that's what's going on right now. So I guess let's start with that. Like, what are your thoughts
Yeah.
these days on the market?
I it hadn't been looking good, honestly. I mean, I guess everybody knows that it hadn't been looking good for a month and a half, almost 2 months now. But for the last 7 days or like a week or so, it's been looking good. I mean, I know Bitcoin hit 40K twice this week, so that's a good sign. And I feel like every time Bitcoin goes up, I mean, obviously others do as well. It's just a whole general space, but there's just starts these rumors that, oh yeah, it's gonna go over 100 grand. And I heard someone, I don't know what it was. It was a random article. It was like, oh yeah, soon. I mean, it's gonna go over 1 million. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, calm down. It's not yet. At least not yet. We know there's a limited number that you can mine, but come on, 1 million.
Yeah,
It's too early.
I think it's also speculation because that's what people do. But I think the main reason this time it went up, from what I was reading, was basically there was a rumor that Amazon is going to start accepting cryptocurrencies.
Mm-hmm.
That does happen. I remember because at work, we got to work 8 a.m. Monday, and well, basically when we started working, and we had some issues at work, and then because everyone is talking about crypto, it's going up, and I had my phone with me because I was shooting a wedding day before, at night, and my phone kept buzzing because I've watched like all the coins that I have, so I watched them, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Because it's going up, 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 and at work is the same thing, and a lot of platforms were down because they were not prepared again. Because what happens is, for some reason, people like to buy high, which never made sense to me, because when the market crashes, no one buys, and then it starts going up, everyone ends up buying, and then that's how rich people get rich.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. It's just it just shows the mentality, I guess, or just how people are. I mean,
I think it's
time,
the FOMO, right? Like I think that's what I've seen in the market over and over again. I remember in February when it was around, Bitcoin was around the same price. It was actually a little bit less, but it had gone to, I'm talking in Canadian dollars, it had gone to 50K Canadian, and then it went down to almost 29K. But I don't know what was that in US. But I remember that happens so it's 20,000 drop. That happens over a week, right? And then everyone was panicking, and then you see 2 months later, that's when it reached the it's all-time high of 65K US, and I think Canadian was like 80K almost at that point. But you see that's like 50K, almost more than doubled in next 3 months. But when that week it went down, everyone sold. But that's I think it is an interesting space to me. Like, it's not like any other asset, right? If you think of it as an asset, right? Because I think most people are getting into as an asset, but I don't think a lot of people believe in the actual decentralization, right? Or don't understand it that much, because people see the hype, it's going up. But I know, like, the actual decentralization, either for at least in Bitcoin, there is proper decentralization. For other ones, I know we say it's decentralization, like Ethereum, I would give it to, like, Ethereum, ADA, and all others. But all the hype stuff I've been seeing, right? Because the people who are very rich are buying it a lot, And then it's not really centralized. Let's say someone who owns 30% of one coin, and then they dump it all, and the other 70% people would basically hold the bag. I think that's what kind of scares me about like a lot of hype coins.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, because I think most of the altcoins nowadays, at least, everybody's in there to make a quick buck, and including the founders or people who are actually getting these currencies up and running to create this hype around it. It's basically a marketing campaign to raise as much money as you can, basically, and create a hype around it, and hopefully it'll stick. And you see so many of these things happening, and so many of these. It's almost like Ponzi schemes that have already been exposed. So it's kind of ridiculous, and it's definitely not something where it started from or where it should be in terms of decentralization.
To an extent, it's almost like use the word rug pull, and in a lot of these it does happen, right? Because I think the big players, the whales, they go. What I've seen over the last 5-6 months. Like that's how long I've been in this space. I've seen they go against the market. So when the hype is at all-time high, that's where basically they go out, because that's when it's going up. People think it's still going to go up, and then they just pull it up. That's what I've seen for a lot. Like especially when the SNL live happened with Dogecoin, everyone was gonna think it was gonna go high, but that's when the biggest players started selling, because it went all-time high, and then it's like, okay, everyone is watching, more people are coming in, let's just dump. But I don't know.
I see that trend as well. I guess it's, again, I mean, it is relatively so new, so people, I guess, especially the people who are in it just for short-term gains, or they see these one-time timers that are trying to, or that got or became millionaires or got hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're like, maybe I can do that too, because they got lucky, they were in early, and let's say the Dogecoin millionaire dude who actually runs his whole thing around it, and it's just everything is just marketing. I mean, even though Dogecoin is, still doing pretty good. I mean, I see it on Coin Market Cap. It's number 8 right now, so it's doing relatively better than any of the other meme cryptocurrencies. So I didn't expect it to, but I guess it's just a lot of people got involved, and the market cap for that is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think because it's also being used, right? That's the other thing. But like for example, I'm just looking.
Yeah, I see the. I have it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I guess I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, the daily volume is ridiculous, and it's at $2 billion, and I mean that's kind of the thing that keeps it alive, and that was just last 24 hours, and I'm looking at the circulating supply, and it says 130 billion. I mean, it makes sense just because it's 20 cents right now, and this is 28th of July as of today. So.
But then also the other thing, right? Like, let's say it has to go to $1 right now. Like, its circulating supply is what, 130 million? So if it goes to $1, that's 130 billion. Its market cap is going to be 130 billion, which when you see right now, I don't think even what's Ethereum's market cap right now?
It's 116 million. It's not even close.
No, 330. No, that's the supply, but the market cap is 335 billion, right?
Oh yeah.
So we're saying it's gonna be like that's gonna be half the Ethereum's market cap, which is crazy to think that meme coin would be that high. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know where the market is gonna go.
But then I mean, you also talk about meme coins or these altcoins. Let's say SafeMoon. It's just. They keep saying that they're gonna deliver this, they're gonna do that. It's just not. I mean, it's just they haven't fulfilled on their promises, I guess, that they made, and it just feels like a Ponzi scheme at this point. And they charge it, and that's definitely not decentralized. I mean, they charge you for selling their coin. They keep half of it and distribute it to others. But if the there's not enough supply, or if it's the main point is not being used, maybe as definitely not as much as Dogecoin even. So it's not even close in terms of that. So you kind of hear these new keywords and terms that people and news media just get clicks on for a couple of days, and it just dies down. People invested for 2 days and it's done.
Yeah, I think it's also the influencer market, right? Because a lot of influencers, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, right? Talking about influencers, I heard about I don't know if you did, about the some of the FaZe Clan members using that. They apparently, I don't know much about it, but they used a cryptocurrency. It was just like a Ponzi scheme to scam their subscribers or their followers into getting money into one of them. I don't even know the name, what it was, of altcoin. And they one of the founders actually kicked them out for it. So that was insane. That was kind of like the first influencers that got caught, I'm assuming, but I'm pretty sure there are a lot of them who are doing these ads they pay you to say it's not an ad. Which is insane to me, because they're like, because millions of people follow them, and even if few percentage point of their following does that, they get huge influx of this money. That's right. I mean, that's the whole point. That's the whole game.
Yeah. It's been interesting to watch. Like, I've been watching the NFT market too, and then I don't know if you've heard CryptoPunks. There are these CryptoPunks, which is basically
I have.
Like
they're huge.
I don't even know how to describe it, but I think the most expensive one right now is like $7 or $8 million. Like, that's in dollars. It's in Ethereum, of course. But $7 million. That's just drives me.
Yeah, it is insane. But I mean, I guess when we were just recently talking about FaZe Clan, I mean, the founder or one of them, the guys, FaZe Banks, has like 12 of them, and because I follow him on Instagram and other social media, and he always keeps posting about it, and he's crazy about this NFT space, so which is good to see. But I haven't actually seen an influencer get it right. Like,
no, there is one that I would say has done it right, and and in the photography space, she's Kat Simmer.
Oh yeah. So I haven't heard, because I mean, that's not my area, because since you're a photographer and you know about these things. But I mean, I'm just saying, I don't think influencers even still don't know what they're doing in terms of NFT space. So everything is so new.
I'll actually, for this Kat Simmer, she's on Instagram, and she has like 179K. She's Sony ambassador and everything, but she did something really, really different than everyone else. So she created a few of her photographs as NFTs, right? That's fine. A lot of photographers did it. She I think she came on super rare. That's like, it's really hard to get on that. That's the first thing. So I think since she was such a big hit on Instagram, right? And I think that's one of the reasons that she got on there. But then also she created something very different. Is basically one of her NFT pieces was you get a bunch of stuff. Let me actually pull it up, just 1 second.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, obviously Gary Vee is a huge name, and he's just smashed it. Like, that's one way to do it. I mean, you got a huge following. You know what you're doing. He definitely made the perfect use of smart contracts in the NFTs. So you're not just buying the actual I guess NFT that's going to go up in price, hopefully, but also you have a smart contract, which allows you to get entry and have dinner with him, and different things. Like, different NFTs have different things linked to them, so which is pretty cool. And I don't think anybody has done it at that level, but also he's just so ahead of the league in terms of all the NFT space.
I think he's also like a very well into the tech, and it's very good at marketing, right? I think that's the main thing. But let me read this. So it's called Lid Apart. That's the name. It's actually I'll show you in the chat. This is the picture. I've seen this picture for a long time, right? This is like this has been Instagram reposted on every client, every like big Instagram account, like
Jeez.
photography account you can see of.
Yeah.
But what she created is, I'll actually read it. The first in-person hosted, collaborated, and immersive NFT travel experience combined with most viral image in Kat Zimmer's portfolio. The first collector receives a personal 5-day trip for one person to the Canadian Rockies, hosted by the artist, including a 2-day canoe trip to the Spirit Island, which is about $8K USD. That's the expense, right? With all the ground expenses covered, up to that much. A hands-on immersive opportunity to learn photography directly from the artist for any skill level. A signed physical print of this image with the certificate of authenticity. Size should be determined after the purchase, but not exceeding 60 linear inches. A commissioned collaborative piece created for the collector during the trip. This new NFT will be minted on Super Rare. So she's going to create one picture with the artist. I mean, with whoever buys it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, and that's so cool.
That would be minted for, like, all this lot of other stuff too, right? And I guess, and there's things like you have to do, like you have to buy it in 30 days. I don't know, in 3 years you'll have to plan the trip and everything. Else the photographer will go and create their own ads.
Yeah,
but
so
it did sell. The user that it got sell to is at CAKTUX, and guess how much it got sold for?
I don't even want to guess how much it got sold for.
It went for 30 Ethereum. That's 68,000. So like, US dollars.
Yeah.
That's so the expense is going to be like 8K with everything, maybe 10K, 15K, right, with the fees and everything. So that's a pretty good thing. Like, she made quite a bit of money, and if she kept her Ethereum, like when Ethereum does go to 10K in maybe 10 years or whatever, right? If she keeps her Ethereum, she basically can retire based on that one piece. But yeah,
oh yeah, for sure.
She I think she had 7 other pieces, and on average, everything I think went for like anything else went for like 2 to 3 Ethereum. So she did pretty good job.
I mean, yeah, for sure. I've never heard of that. It's funny because it's kind of like a contract. I mean, you can basically put anything in it.
Yes,
it's just like any other contract, but I guess it executes when the deal is done, or the transfer is done, or the transaction is complete. So
basically,
there's you can be as creative as you want to be, and especially if you're a photographer, and it's just a given lane. I mean, NFT and pictures and GIFs and all the other things like go hand in hand. So I guess definitely it's the space that photographers are gonna dominate for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's just like figuring out the right way to do it. The hard part is because I think you have to be really good at what you do to be able to be mentored, right? Otherwise, because those platforms are not going to put you if you're not good. And also, it does cost money to get mentored. So, like a platform like Super Rare, if you can get on that, I've actually seen a lot of Twitter tweets, about people, like a lot of good photographers who can get on it because they're just really selective. But if you do get on that, right, your piece is basically sold at that point because it is super rare, right? Like the name is super rare, but because only a few people get on it, right? I don't know if they have, they might have an invitation program too, that once you get it, you can invite a friend or something. But that's why, like, it's and then again, it's not really like it, as you said, it's a contract at this point. It's just a super contract, and then the creators of Super Rare, get to decide who are able to, have their contracts on their space.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Super Rare, or the artist that you were talking about. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, She accepted a bit of 30 ETH. I mean, 68,553 at that point. Yeah. But whoever bought it knows that it's probably going to go up in value. But I guess if you know of the creator and if you know the space, I mean, I don't think...
I watched it unfold right before, like I was watching tweets. So just saying, when she listed it, I saw it. And then the person who bought it tweeted her back and all that, right? And I think the funny thing is she was actually on a hiking trip when she got the offer, because that's what she does. She's always hiking and taking pictures, and then she accepted it when she got back from somewhere. But the funny thing is, like, the first offer was like 5 Ethereum, which is pretty good. And
then, I was looking at that.
And then then I think he did it, like, he just went crazy. Like, I think he went up to everyone maybe by 15 or 20 Ethereum.
Yeah, because I think the last one was 8.525.
Yeah,
and he went from 8 to 30 ETH. Like,
yeah,
that's a jump.
Yeah, that's the stuff you see in the movies, right?
Yeah, for sure. When you get so much money, but yeah, I mean, if you know the space, if you know the creator, and I mean, go for it. I mean, if you know it's gonna go up, it's like any other investment, basically, at this point. But if you don't really have to do it for an investment. If you're really just passionate about it and you follow the space and you just want to keep it and never sell it, I mean, that's up to you. Well, so that's also another cool point.
Yeah, I've seen people collect paintings, right? To end of the day, like, there's a lot of similar painters who do the same paintings, but it's the community, right? Like, that decides the painting. Then also, I was talking to some people, and people say this could be like money laundering. I'm like, you never know. It could be stuff like that too. You never know about this stuff, right? Because I do know, like, the guy. No, the guy who did buy it, right? I looked into it. He is all into the space, right? He bought crypto bots. I think he bought them really cheap, and he sold some of them, right? So he's doing a lot of that, right? So that's how I think he's like all into the space. So for him, it makes sense. For him, 30 Ethereum is nothing, because he sells something for like 100 Ethereum or 200 Ethereum, right? If like something like a crypto bot.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like any other arbitrage. It's basically retail arbitrage. You buy something for low, sell it for high. I mean, to make a profit, and it's the same. And I think it's going crazy right now. But I know a lot of these projects, and what I don't like. It's okay for influencers and other people to get in and trying to do their thing, but I don't like these big celebrities just teaming up with anyone to just get in this NFT game and make some quick couple million and get out. Like, that's not, I mean, it's cool. You are making money, but I just don't like it, I guess, personally.
I think it's kind of like exploiting the market with your name, like,
yeah, it is.
I forgot who was, right? I'm going off topic, but on OnlyFans, all these workers are making not workers, like all the people that are on OnlyFans, have for people to subscribe. They were making money based on whatever they did. And then I think was a celebrity, one of those, I forgot the name. She was like a celebrity model or something, and then she come on there and she makes more money than anything, and she wasn't like the pictures, like, I don't want to get into the details, but it's just like the pictures was not what everyone else had, and it was just everyone felt cheated. But then after that, OnlyFans had to come in and put in a limit on what's the maximum, like, someone could be tipped, and what's the maximum they can withdraw and all that. So so that's the bad thing, right? Like, that's how the celebrities, like, who are already famous, already the money, destroy it.
Yeah, that's the worst part. I mean, you already got millions. Like, you don't need to exploit a little app that's trying to help other creators or people who are genuinely interested or passionate about things, and you're just going in there and taking somebody's fame. I mean, you can team up with creators and give them a platform in terms, or give them a spotlight, but at the end of the day, you're doing it more for you, not for them. So
it's also, to
me, it's just kind of
I
selfish.
think it does eventually die, but also that, like, how Will Smith, for example, came to YouTube, right, and then also Instagram Reels and stuff, which is good. Like, he's all into the market, right? But for him, it's like, I know his stuff is way more creative than some creators I see, but he has the money to just hire the creatives who can make content for him, right? And
for sure.
It is kind of hacking the market, like, it's good. His content's good. I've enjoyed some of it, but at the same time, it is not
Yeah.
fair for everyone, else who's just trying
Yeah,
to get in.
and it's just for the quick buck, just because they're not gonna stick around. They're
No.
gonna move on to the next thing. They're gonna try and hop on the next trend that they can make a quick million or 2 or 10, whatever million, however much money they can. There's nothing wrong with that, but it just doesn't look good on you, I guess, as a celebrity, or even that's just a personal opinion, but yeah, it doesn't look good.
I think at the same time, because no one actually goes to the movies anymore, so they just they're just
Yeah.
doing something to stay relevant, right? I think that's the
Yeah, it is too. Yeah, that's true, and I think that just comes, not going off topic, but yeah, it's just the streaming services and the pandemic and the whole.
yeah.
It's just compounded against them. So even the producers and they know that the most watched things are just on streaming platforms, and but I guess going back to NFT, and that's kind of takes away from the decentralization part, in my opinion, just because you also have the people of influence already who have these big audiences, and as you were saying, like, you can buy a Dogecoin if they're big whales holding billions of Doge, let's say 1 billion, and they dump it all, like, obviously the market's gonna crash,
Yeah.
So it's just it's almost the same concept to me.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think what NFT does give is, like, I know there's like platforms that limit people to get on, but there's some platforms where you can basically mint anything, right? And up to the buyers to buy it. But like, to me, what I've seen is it have allowed a lot of, photographers. That's what because I'm in that space. I've seen them to take control of their work,
Yeah.
which to me is really good, because nobody really prints a lot stuff anymore, right? Like they're not printing, big, like, I know some people have, like, I do have some of my own printed, and it's in my house, but I don't think that's the space right now, because everyone is on their screens all the time, and everyone is going towards minimalistic things, right? And having a big painting in the house or having a big picture in the house is not something a lot of people are doing right now.
Yeah, because people want to flex online. Yeah. Nobody's coming to their house, especially with the pandemic.
That's true.
So
and that's where
with their wallets, you can check who has what characters and what NFTs, and that's how they're gonna flex, I guess, in the next years to come. That's the new flex of equivalent of having a painting in your house or a Mona Lisa in your house. Like, I mean, it's equivalent of just collecting goods, collecting baseball cards, Pokemon cards that were just popping again. So it's good for creators. It's really good.
I do have a good segue from there. I don't know if you have read I haven't watched the movie. I haven't even read it, but I know the concept. It's Ready Player One. Do you know about that?
No, I haven't.
Okay, it is set in future where basically everything is digital. Like, you don't interact with people physically, but you're basically through the internet. Everything is digital. You have tasks that are digital. I'm just thinking at this point, and where technology is going with NFTs, where everything is going. It might be at certain points that everything is a game, right? Like,
oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I know what you're talking about. I've seen few clips of that movie here and there, and I just never knew. Maybe that's the one you're talking about. But yeah, I think the clips that I saw was him doing most of the things AI and using a VR set. I'm not sure if that's the same one you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because I haven't really watched it. I read about it. Well, not really. I know Casey Neistat once did a vlog on it, and then I read about it a little bit. I haven't had a good chance to read the actual book. Wow, I actually suck at reading. I get audiobooks, so I'll probably same. That reminds me, I do have one Audible credit, so I might buy that one.
Yeah. Not a sponsor though.
No, that is true. Not a sponsor.
Yeah, that'd be insane. Can you imagine having a sponsor first podcast?
Hey, you never know.
I don't know. I mean, hey, if y'all listening, we here. Hit us up. Yeah. I mean, it is going towards all that space in terms of digital NFTs, and everything's going digital. Every aspect, especially just the pandemic, pushed companies to go digital.
Everything, right? Like, I because I work at a financial institution, so it like I asked that question a lot. But when did anyone go to a bank, like in a physical bank? Like I remember I haven't been in. The only time I went was when we were working on the house, right? So those are the only things that you actually need. But I think in the pandemic, that was really, people were just doing all of that online. I know banks here were basically having online calls and everything.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember the last time I went to a physical location for a bank. Because it's probably more than a year ago now. And everything's so much easier on your banking app, and especially, I was just reading, I guess that's a kind of a segue into Robinhood, and people just randomly generating these huge number of accounts just for investing. They make it easier. It's just like fast food of investing in terms of other institutions that were in place and other brokerage that were in place. And they kind of changed the game. And sorry, I know you're probably trying to get a comment, but they are actually doing an IPO tomorrow, so they're going public, Robinhood, and they're saying they're gonna they expect their shares to be from $38 to $42 a piece.
I think it might be like Coinbase, where it goes up and then just drops,
and then it's gonna crash. I think they are expecting that, just because even their CEO has been in controversy lately, and it's not looking good. But even though they have all of these things going around them, their number of subscribers or people that have used their app is ridiculous. I mean, I was reading that their revenue jumped from 128 million in 2020, just the first quarter in 2020, to 2021 to 546 million.
It's crazy.
They were saying that's a 300% increase. So people in pandemic had nothing to do but invest their stimulus checks into Robinhood.
See, that's the thing. You're talking about all this. I was thinking why we don't have a lot of stuff like that in Canada. We have something called Wealth Simple, and they essentially do the same thing. You can buy some crypto. I think they're listing more crypto coins now, and then you can buy certain stocks. It's similar to Robinhood, right? And then they also did something. You have Venmo and everything in the Cash App, Venmo in US, and they have a similar product. It's called Wealth Simple Cash, which basically does the same thing here. But what I was saying is it is really amazing what population does, right? Because in Canada we're just like, not even 10% of US population, right?
Barely.
So and to me what sucks is in stuff like this, it would be really good to have a global economy. You know what I mean? Like that you didn't have all these rules that you have to have in a whole country. Like, for example, if in Canada, like Wealth Simple, for example, they can only work in Canadian markets. I think if they have to come in US, they'll have to do something crazy. But to me, for stuff like crypto, it's global, right? Like,
it is. And I think that's the whole point of getting a decentralized market, and there's getting past these borders of Canada or US, or because the whole world is the playground in a sense. So I guess that's where everything is headed.
Right? Yeah, Binance, for example, you can be in anywhere in the world, right? You can use all the currencies, and you can buy.
Actually, they wouldn't let me open an account in Texas. They're not in Texas. I don't know why.
Or maybe there's some regulations. They're in Canada.
I think it's in the most parts of the world, but
they have their own.
I tried signing up a month and a half ago, and they're like, we don't. really operated in Texas yet.
That's crazy.
I was like, great.
They actually in Canada they work. They're doing a lot of good stuff, Binance, because they work with local companies to do their payments. They're bringing their local cards and everything, which is pretty good. But also I think the main reason is I don't know how US sees, but in Canada they still see cryptos as an asset. Right?
Yeah, it's the same way here.
Yeah. How does the taxes work in crypto? So if you trade from one crypto to another crypto, do you have to pay tax on the profits?
Technically, yes, but
if you're just trading crypto to crypto, you're not bringing it to fiat.
No. So it's just a thing of if you've had a gain and if you have had a loss, you can put that on there. But I'm not sure about in the coming year because they're still trying to put some kind of regulation in where they want to know how they can actually tax each transaction.
That's
which
what
is
they're
insane to me.
That's what they're doing here.
Yeah, because they right now in the U.S. Senate and the House, they're debating about passing a bill that would generate annually $40 billion to the government just in taxes from cryptocurrency transactions.
Crazy.
And I have no idea how they're going to implement that. I mean, they could, but
I think
first of all, I don't see them passing it anytime soon because they can't come to a consensus with the whole Republican and Democrats just butting head all the time. So I don't think that's going to get passed first. And then even if it did get passed, there's still going to be so much of the ironing out of the rules, even if the bill is passed.
I think in Canada, from what I've seen, they do is if like right now, if there is a transaction that would be more than 10,000 Canadian dollars, the exchange have to report it.
Yeah, that's with any fiat currency, even in US. So anything worth 10,000, you have to. Yeah, it shows up, and
but
IRS
now,
can actually audit you on those.
Yeah. So now the thing is like if that's happening, then probably at the same time that can happen, like because they work with those exchanges, right? And to me, they're just gonna ask the exchanges, okay, who's this user and what they have done, right? Because you have to provide your username and everything. You go through the KYC and everything.
Yeah, as and all these platforms, the brokerage accounts or that you have with, let's say, Robinhood, you provide your social security, you provide your financial information. I mean, the government knows everything. I mean, they can get anything from Robinhood if they want. So it's just like a normal brokerage, but with cryptocurrency, it's just such a new space that everybody's like, everything's up in the air right now. Nobody knows how it's gonna work.
In like, for example, I was talking about Wealthsimple, right? That's similar to Robinhood, and they do actually report all your transactions and profits to the government. So I know it's a little bit, IRS is like a little bit strict, not stricter, that they do stuff really. In Canada, like when you file your tax, if you use one of those TurboTax or whatever, one of those softwares, right? They actually, and then you can link your social insurance number, like we got basically your SIN there, and you can, we call it, our department is CRA, Canada Revenue Agency. Yeah. So we can link up your CRA account, and then they basically pull all that information up, and then if Wealthsimple have reported it, like for me it was, right, and then it just shows up there. So.
Yeah, I don't think we have a system in place in terms of just cryptocurrency. I know even with the Robinhood, I mean, any gain or loss that you have in a normal stock is reported.
Yeah, so this was just for normal stocks too. It was not.
Yeah. So it's the same in the US. Everything is reported, and you have to report it on your taxes when you say what stock you have, how many shares, what you bought it for, what day, what time, and then what you sold it for, and what was the date, and if they tax you differently if it's a short-term gain or loss, or if, compared to a long-term, and if it's just over a year, it's considered a long-term. So all those things are reported, but with cryptocurrency, I'm not sure. I haven't even seen my own statements, how they would pull up to show like you bought this asset for this much and then you sold it for this much.
Yeah, it's gonna be. See, what bothers me is how they do calculations for I was gonna say. God damn it, I forgot. I just lost my train of thought. So
were you talking about just taxes or stocks or?
yeah, it was some sort of taxes. I forgot what kind of taxes I was gonna talk about.
Are you
Anyways,
talking about capital gain? Because that's the one that you get.
no.
Well, okay.
Well, in Canada, capital gains is a little bit different. Oh yeah, I was actually going to talk about day trading. How I don't know how would they do their taxing, because they're basically selling and buying all the time.
Yeah. I mean, again, it'll definitely fall under short term, but it's. I don't think people realize when they did start taxing, which is technically gonna be in next tax year or this coming tax year. They're gonna have to pay a lot of tax on a lot of those gains, and that people don't realize at the end you might owe IRS or CRA in your case a lot of money for all that gains you got. So that's gonna be an eye opener for a lot. If you've gained a lot, you bet the government's gonna claim their taxes.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, like, I don't know how the capital gains work on your and for us, if you've gained, which is if it's a long-term gain and you're not doing it as a business, it's basically capital gains, right, in Canada, and and I think our taxes, how it works is 50% on profits. The 50% of the profits you don't pay any tax, and then the rest 50% you pay the tax. That's how in Canada the capital gains work. I don't know how it works in USA.
Yeah, it's pretty similar, but I don't think it's as high as 50% here.
No. I don't. I'm not saying it's 50% tax.
Oh, okay.
It is basically, let's say it would be whatever your tax bracket is, right, at that point. But let's say you made $1,000 profit, and in your income it would be just 500, the half of it, right? That would go towards your income, and then you get taxed on that based on whatever your bracket test, your marginal tax rate.
Yeah. And it, as you said, it kind of depends on what tax bracket you fall under, and obviously if you
if you're
fall under a higher bracket, you're gonna pay higher taxes. But even if you do fall under low bracket, and then you have this massive gain,
brings it to higher.
Yeah, so you're gonna end up paying a lot more. So.
I know.
I mean, for capital gains, that's why we have these, the tax advantage retirement plans with 401k or IRAs. I don't know if it's what they're called in Canada.
We have RRSP, which is basically Registered Retirement Savings Plan, which is basically you have a monthly limit, yearly limit that you could put into it, and basically everything you put into that account is not taxed.
Yeah. So we kind of have that as well with IRA, and I think our limit is 6,000, but it goes up if you're over 59 and up.
Yeah, I would have to see. I think it's around the same, but I didn't put a lot into it. I just put some and then forgot about it.
Yeah,
but I think it's similar to in USA too. I know I've heard like the employee does 401k sharing, right? And then they do that here too. You put certain percentage in, and they put certain percentage in, and then it goes to your savings.
Yeah, and I do see a lot of people just, I guess a lot of articles or YouTube videos that just pop up just because if you are searching or trying to do some research in the cryptocurrency space, and then all these recommendations about financial planners and all these channels keep popping up. So I do see them like, oh yeah, you're wasting your money in 401k. You should rather do it in IRA. And I mean, it doesn't make sense. I mean, you should probably have a 401k and just have an IRA separately. But it's just, I guess, again, going back to the clicks and the 2 minutes of fame of everything that's going on, and just creating a hype around things, the buzzwords, I guess.
Well, that's how. Well, that's most of YouTube, right? That's how they work.
Yeah.
Anyways, other than other than NFTs and the cryptos to talk about, what in this market excites you? I don't know if you have something that you think.
I think obviously the best part that I feel in terms of NFT and in this space would be just the actual real world uses that we can have. And I think I don't think most of the people that realize that are an NFT, that it's not just gonna be confined to something that's digital. It's also gonna have real life implications or utilities that can be used. So I think that's what I'm more excited about. Just not just going everything digital, even though we are heading that way. But I'm excited about how well the integration's gonna be going from digital to the real world, and it's just gonna be all connected.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think we need to, like, as a society, at this point, we need an integration between the digital and the physical life. We are getting towards that, but I think, yeah, you're right. The NFTs and cryptocurrencies in general are going to be the ones that does make that happen, right? That, and also I think it takes away a lot of burden from our markets, right? Because there's a lot of stuff that, because it now being digital, there's a lot of stuff that just is mundane tasks that everyone have to do, which should, to me, as humanity, we could be doing better things rather than just.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, even in NFT and crypto space, I think we got a long way to go in terms of using renewable sources. I know we talked about this before. Yeah. For mining and how much energy they use in terms of electricity, and it's just not the efficient way right now. But I think it's easier, because if you are switching to renewable sources of energy and you're getting your electricity from there, the whole thing's gonna be a lot more efficient in that way.
It's similar like electric cars, right? Right now, all the electric cars get their electricity from non-renewable sources for most of the places, right?
Yeah.
Not everyone has a solar roof or whatever.
No.
Not everyone gets their energy from a wind farm. So it is. It's really interesting where that part would go, like how it actually gets generated.
Yeah, for sure. And I think these mega pools that are actually mining these bitcoins or cryptocurrency or whatever the case may be that they're mining for a living, they basically have this big giant server rooms full of computing power to mine as much as they can for profit. And that's,
well, they're also it does lead to some illegal activities too, right? Like a lot of people, what they're doing is they're using illegal. Basically, they're hooking directly to the power cables, going around without paying the bill, right? So they're just mining. I know in BC, in British Columbia, there is a lot of people. Not a lot. There was few raids, and they found people basically. They thought it was a meth lab because we're using so much electricity.
Jeez. Oh my god.
Because they do have a lot of that in BC, but it was basically like a crypto mining place. Yeah.
That's so funny. Can you imagine just trying to bust them for meth, and meanwhile they're out here mining Bitcoin?
Yep.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, that's actually happened a lot around the world, other places as well. And I think going back to these institutions, or I guess government institutions, cracking down on crypto, because their financial structures are potentially in trouble.
They are
not anytime soon, but it's happening, and they kind of don't know what to do about it.
I think it is gonna be like the big government might get hurt, like all over the world, right? Because especially where places like where there's not proper banking infrastructures, whereas banking is only for the educator, banking is only for people who have real money, who have lots of money. Like in those places, like Africa, right? I think if crypto goes off there, it's gonna be really, really good. Because I've seen,
for sure.
I was actually talking to someone, and they say in those places, they are very good at adapting new technologies. For example, they didn't have phones. It's similar like in India, right? They didn't have phones at home. They didn't have computers, but now everyone has a smartphone, and then they just jumped over a few generations. But in I think it's in Kenya or somewhere that I heard that they have some small like local apps or local basically where you can
Uh huh.
text someone in a maybe it's just a group chat or whatever. If you're looking for something, you just put it in that app, and someone would
Mhm.
basically find you and deliver that. If someone else, packs it, someone picks it up, someone delivers it.
Yeah.
It's all in one app. It's basically a community app where you basically find jobs. You pay each other and to do stuff if you can. And to
Yeah.
me, like if they are doing that in they're doing that in Kenya, to me
Mhm.
like they're if eventually if everything is stuff like this is more open and it's people can use cryptos easily on each smartphone. There's more real world applications. You can buy stuff using crypto. You
Oh
can
yeah.
use all that. Those countries
Mhm.
are gonna adapt to it pretty easily, and then all of a sudden everyone is using crypto.
Yeah, and I think one of the options I know for sure that governments are looking into, because I was reading some of these reports or these articles talking about governments around the world trying to have their, I guess, own cryptocurrency in a way to
Yeah,
get people to
well,
use it. But I
similar
think
to
then again,
China,
it's that's not the point. The point is you're not in charge.
decentralization. Yeah.
Yeah, it's decentralization. Like that's what we're trying to get away from. So
See,
it's kind of hard as if you put yourself in like government's shoes, like they kind of scrambling to kind of say what are we gonna do now.
yeah, and to me, like when it's funny when I read stuff like China is gonna ban Bitcoin, India is
Oh
banning
yeah,
Bitcoin.
that's they've done it so many times.
How can you ban something you don't have any control? I know you can probably jail people for mining. You can jail people for
Hmm.
using it if you find it.
Yeah.
But if it's all that's why it's decentralized, right? Because if you have Bitcoin and no one knows this is your wallet, you have Bitcoin,
Hmm.
like, and whatever value it holds, right? You'll always have the money. The government would never know. But then also the same point, I understand concerns. That's how you know terrorists, money laundering, that's how all that
Yeah,
would happen. So,
and
so
it's
that
and
that
it's probably already happening, but it, that's that's in anything you do. I mean, you're gonna have some good players and some bad players, and some
well,
people actually
yeah.
using it and misusing it.
Yeah, well, in banking, for example, I think that's what the government wants more control in banking. Like
Uh huh.
for any money that goes in and out of the country, the bank is responsible for it. Just to check if is this money laundering. Is this
Yeah.
for terrorism or is it for
Hmm.
any XYZ? So to me, yeah, it is really interesting how all that is going to work because it would be, but I think what we eventually need, I think I talked about this earlier too, where everything is linked. What I mean is the work you do is linked to what you get paid in a proper way, right? Like and then you like let's say there's a mine worker in Kenya, or I'm just because we're talking about Kenya, and there's a mine worker, he who mines something and he gets paid X, but there's also an X profit attached to it. Like if you mine diamond, for example, then that diamond goes for $1 million. To me, there should be a way to incentivize that person who actually did it. Right? I know he's working for a place, but that's where it is crazy. But to me, like that is something crypto can enable, right? Eventually,
Yeah.
something like that where everything is kind of linked. Would
Yeah,
you
for
agree with that?
sure. Yeah, I mean, they do like the banks or are entitled to provide these government agencies and especially in terms of its criminal investigation and if it's something terrorist related or things of the criminal activity, they technically have to give over financials if there
Mm.
is a warrant or if there's an active investigation. So I think that's also one of the things that one of the powers they lose, and
Yeah.
it's the name is crypto, like it's cryptic. It's for a reason. I mean, you can trace users from one to another, but again, you can't trace what it was. You
Yeah.
can't say what it was used for. So I think that's kind of where government
See,
is kind of have to figure out things.
yeah, that's why it is really hard right? Like I think,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, to me at this point, everything that we have on our phones, I'm pretty sure government have easy access to it, right? Because at this
Oh
point,
yeah.
because they're into everyone's, they're wiretapping almost. If they want to, they can wiretap anything. Like if
Yeah.
Facebook has your information, I'm pretty sure government has it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
And like that's why I kind of love, I guess, not to go off topic, the not to track option that Apple gives you now for
Yeah.
each app that you open. That's why
Yeah.
Facebook was mad. Oh no, we're gonna lose all this ad revenue, and
so
we're not
so
gonna be able to do that.
yeah, I don't know if you have noticed, Snapchat is
Uh-huh.
coming back up. The shares
Yeah.
are back up. The only reason
Mhm.
is because Facebook and all the other apps, they are going to lose their advertising, but Snapchat is not, because Snapchat never ever took that route. They never stored your data, as in to
Yeah.
use, like they didn't sell your data, right? Like Facebook did
Yeah.
to do
Mhm.
proper advertising, because
Yeah.
Snapchat's model was basically, we'll talk to companies, we will advertise
Mhm.
their stuff, and we will make interesting, we'll hire, because if you see the Snapchat entertainment page, right, where all that stuff is
Mhm.
happening, it's just pretty
Yeah.
entertaining, and that's where they add their
Yeah.
ads, and that's how they make their money. And
Mhm.
you know but everything else, like TikTok, Facebook, all the others, they use your data.
TikTok is the worst. Yeah, it's yeah, they just track your data from to the teeth, and then they sell it basically.
And it's
but yeah,
it's
I
just
guess,
not your Facebook data, right? It basically, if you
Oh,
see
yeah.
properly, they basically want to see what you watch on YouTube, what you search on
Mhm.
your search engines, everything.
Yeah, and like each second literally on these apps is monitored. Like, oh,
Yeah.
how many seconds you gave to this video, to this topic versus this, what should be the next video, just keep the attention. But yeah, it is, I think it's good that Apple has done that to kind of put somewhat of a leash on them
Yeah.
going just crazy, even though they probably has everyone who's ever been on Facebook, they probably
Why?
have everything on them.
And they can still do in-app tracking, right? They just can't track what
Yeah.
you're doing outside the app, right? They can still
Yep.
track what you're doing
Which
inside.
is so ridiculous to me that was even in a question. I mean,
Yeah.
we just accepting terms and condition is just like the biggest lie, because nobody's gonna
Yeah.
actually read it. They just want to
Yeah.
use the app. They download it. They want to use it, obviously, and then they just hit accept, because nobody's actually reading the fine print.
Yeah, see, about Apple too, right? Like, I don't know if you've heard of the Pegasus saga in
Mhm.
India. All that,
Mhm.
like, I think what I've read is most of those phones that were targeted were Apple iPhones, right? So I don't know how
Yeah,
that's
I
happening.
heard that.
Like, how did that even happen? Like, how those got hacked into?
I'm not
I've not
sure.
looked. Maybe it was some app that they downloaded, and that app got access to all that stuff, but we'll have to
Yeah.
figure that out. Maybe there is something that just hacks. But I do know, like, there's an Israeli app right now. I do know Israelis are really good with that security stuff and hacking
Yeah.
into stuff, because, well, and also that tool is used for anti-terrorism, right? Because that's what it was
Mhm.
used for. But India used it against their own people, as they have always
Of course. Yeah, no surprise there.
done. Yeah.
By the way, we both come from India, so calm down. Like, we're not bashing India, but I mean, we're citizens of India. At least I am. At least
Yeah, me
still.
too. Me too.
So we're allowed to.
Yeah. Yeah.
People
What?
people nowadays get crazy on little things and these comments.
Yeah, it
That's-
is to me.
I guess that's-
like,
That's a whole nother topic
yeah,
that we can't cover in this podcast.
that's true. No, I try to stay true the truth, like true to the truth. But I know,
Yeah.
I understand. People
Mm.
have feelings, and then when
Yeah.
nationalities are involved, it's a
Yeah.
bigger mess.
Yeah. Especially nowadays, I mean, just everything is, I guess, under microscope in a sense, because people have so many of these apps, and it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just sometimes people just go out of their way to find trouble, and you will find some with millions of users online. So
That's true.
It's-
I think that's what a lot of people are into. I know we're going way off topic, but a lot of people,
yeah,
that's what they do. They just find a reason to be offended, and then they stick to that, and then that's their life purpose.
yeah, for real, and that's what it seems like. I mean, come on, like, how much time you got to spend or to be arguing with someone you've never met, you don't know,
Yeah.
and you're just
It's
assuming
crazy.
things, which is
I think a lot of influence is from a lot of different influencers and all that, right? I think that's what, because that's how you watch, and I think people get that mindset. I think one thing people like our generation, I've seen, I don't know, maybe it was same for all generations, but we've seen that we don't have a lot of critical thinking. People just see something and they believe it. They don't want to think on their own. I think because that's the easy path, right? Everyone wants to take the easy path.
And it's just made so easy to spread disinformation as well. Like, nobody's actually verifying these things, and that's another part of it.
Well, also because there's not proper journalism left, right? Everyone is basically paid by someone else, right? Like it's not like you hunt and then people watch you and then sorry.
No, you're good.
But I don't think that's the model right now.
I think in terms of cryptocurrency, it's changing so quickly, but there's still a long way to go in terms of, as we were talking about, renewable things and energy usage, and also governments trying to figure out what they are going to do. So overall, it's happening so quick. Everybody's trying to hop on and make a quick buck, but it's here to stay.
For that 3, I think that are always gonna be there. Well, no, the 2 I think is Ethereum and Bitcoin, right?
Yeah,
these 2 are, to me, these are always gonna be there, because just Ethereum, just because it's so much rooted into everything, right? Like everything is based on Ethereum, everything you can think of, and Bitcoin, just because it's Bitcoin, it was the first one, and then like it's like, and it is very limited, and then it's the store value is really high right now, like the current Bitcoin value compared to what it was when it started, and I think a lot of people are into, and I don't think anyone is stupid enough to just dump all of it, right? So
no,
like especially the big whales. So that is quite interesting. But the other one I'm hoping, it's the same thing, right? It's like ADA Cardano, but that's at the same time they've been saying they were just gonna do this, but they have not done those things. But at the same time, there are other ones like Dogecoin. They said they're never gonna do anything, and then it's still going.
So, I guess they're staying true to what they said they were gonna do. I mean, it's just something that people made, and they want to keep it that way. I guess there's a sense of community there.
Well, I guess it's similar when it comes to the US dollar right now, right? Like, there's not really anything backing the US dollar. Like, I know in old days it was gold, but I don't think the US dollar is backed by gold right now. It's basically whatever the economy is. So
and it's some of these cryptocurrencies can actually be just used as that. Because there are a lot of projects out there that do that just for that reason, that would stay relatively stable in this crazy market. So there are things. So that'll change as well, and it's already changing. So that's another good point.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting next 10 years to me in the space, because even next couple of years, right? I think even next couple of years, I don't know, because if you go through the same cycle again, let's say the cycle, I don't know what market it's gonna be in next 2-3 months. If it goes down, it goes down. But if we go to the same cycle in like 4 years, right? That's been basically 16, then 20, right? That's what's been happening. 20, like, to me, if the same thing happens in 4 years from now, then it's the opportunity is endless. But at the same time, I know that there's going to be way more adoption in 4 years if the same cycle happens. So maybe it happens next year. You never know. You can't ever predict this market. At that time, the adoption is going to be crazy. But then also at the same time, a lot of people are going to lose money in FOMO. That happens. Right?
That's already kind of happening, and there's always going to be people who are trying to chase this high of getting this quick buck and making money. But yeah, I mean, it is interesting, and it's so unpredictable. We don't even know what's gonna happen in a couple of years from now in this space, because it's so rapidly growing. But I am hopeful. I am hopeful in terms of what it's gonna do, and just in terms of decentralization, and it's slowly happening, and altcoins have been kind of disappointing in that sense, because they're not truly decentralized, as we talked about. So at least some of them, they're not. I'm not saying all. But yeah, so I'm interested in that, and how the real concept where it started from actually comes into play. Not just Bitcoin and Ethereum and some other altcoins that we have in the market.
Yeah, I think that's where, Cardano and, I don't know where XRP is going to go, because to me, because that is, again, like, they're working at the government, and that's just going to be against what decentralization is, right?
Yeah.
So that's...
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, do you have anything else I want to talk about today, or?
I think we're good. It was interesting because I know we talked about this like a couple of months ago, maybe a month and a half, and
changes a lot, right?
Yeah,
it was a different conversation when we logged.
Yeah, that was completely different. Yeah, that was a completely different conversation. So it's so interesting how quickly things change. But this has been good. I mean, I enjoyed our talk. I enjoyed our conversation. And hopefully, whoever's listening to this enjoyed it too.
Same.
Yeah, and I guess on that note, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Yep.
All right, peace.